Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I am Michelle, moderator for this conference. Welcome to the conference call of Garden Reach Shipbuilders and Engineers Limited, arranged by Concept Investor Relations to discuss its Q1 FY23. We have with us today Shri Commodore P.R. Hari, Chairman and Managing Director, Additional Charge, and Shri R.K. Das, Director, Finance. At this moment, all participants are in listen-only mode. Later, we will conduct a question and answer session. At that time, if you have a question, please press star and 1 on your touchtone phone. Please note that this conference is being recorded. I now hand the conference over to Shri Commodore P.R. Hari, Chairman and Managing Director. Thank you, and over to you, sir.
Thank you, Michelle. At the outset, let me clarify that it is not additional charge. So I have been in chair as the Chairman and Managing Director with effect from 10th of June this year. Ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon to all of you. I am Commodore Hari, as I mentioned, the Chairman and Managing Director of this company. And let me welcome you all to this conference call to discuss the financial performance of the company for the first quarter that ended on 30th of June 2022. I have here with me Sri Ramesh Kumar Das, Director of Finance, Mrs. Aparajita Ghosh, Additional General Manager in Charge Finance, and Sri Sandeep Mohapatra, the Company Secretary. We have been interacting regularly with you all through Concall, and I appreciate that you are all familiar with the role and the broad functioning of our company. Before we move on to the financial performance during Q1 FY23, let me take you all to the physical performance of the shipyard during the first quarter, our order book position, and the broad execution plan for these orders. As on 30th June 2022, our order book stands at rupees 23,583 crores. With shipbuilding, that is our primary business, forming almost 98% of this order book. That is 23,300 crore rupees comes from the shipbuilding segment, and ship repairs contribute to 43 crores. We have a business vertical, the engineering division, that comprises of Bailey bridges, that is portable steel bridges and deck machinery, 102 crores coming from this segment, and the engines division, diesel engines division, contributing 138 crores. As I mentioned, shipbuilding earns us almost 98% of our revenue, and from the current order book of 23,300 crores comprises of 7 projects, encompassing 23 platforms. These include 15 ships for the Indian Navy, that is 3 ships of the P-17 Alpha Advanced Frigate, 8 ships of the Anti-Submarine Warfare Shallow Water Craft, and 4 ships of the Survey Vessel Large Project. All these put together comes to 15, as I had mentioned. In order, we are executing for the Indian Coast Guard for a fast patrol vessel, a project for the government of Bangladesh comprising of 8 platforms, 8 patrol boats, 6 patrol boats, 1 passenger cum cargo vessel for the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, and 1 project for a next generation electric ferry for the government of West Bengal. I'm happy to inform you that this order has been received. This order from the government of Bangladesh has been received very recently, and this is a breakthrough for us into the green energy market. And I'm very confident that on completion of this project, there is huge market potential both for export and for domestic orders in this segment, that is the green energy segment. On the physical performance side, FY23 has started on a very positive note, with 4 of our ships being launched during the first quarter. During one of my earlier concalls, I had mentioned that launch is a very important milestone in the shipbuilding cycle. And that means the ship's hull form is completely ready and the ship is being floated out for the first time. On completion of launch, the outfitting activities commence, leading the ship's delivery to the customer. So as I had mentioned, 4 ships have been launched during the first quarter. On 2nd of May, the fast patrol vessel that we are constructing for the Indian Coast Guard was launched. And on 28th of May, the second ship of the survey vessel large project was launched. And on 15th of June, we launched the export ship, that is the passenger cargo vessel for the Cooperative Republic of Guyana. And on 15th of July, the second P-17 Alpha ship was launched. This ship was launched by our Honorable Raksha Mantri. And this is a very major event considering that this ship is almost 6,700 tons in displacement. In addition, on the 17th of June, we have laid the keel of 3 ships on a single day. That is on 17th of June, we laid the keel of 1 survey vessel large and 2 anti-submarine shallow water crafts. This is a very unique occasion, perhaps in the first time in the country that 3 ships, that too from 2 different warship building projects, are being laid. The keel of 3 ships are being laid on a single day. On the ship repair segment, we are currently executing refit of a Coast Guard vessel and have also won orders for refits of 2 more ships. So this is a testimony to the focus that we are giving on the ship repair segment. On the execution plan for the existing orders, as I had mentioned earlier, the first 2 ships of the P-17 Alpha project have been already launched and construction of the 3rd ship is in full swing. The first ship has achieved nearly 40% of physical progress and presently is undergoing the outfitting phase. The delivery of this ship is planned in 2025. The second ship, which was launched on 15th of July this year, is presently in dry dock for the pre-CST, that is the pre-contractor sea trials dry dock phase, and this ship is planned to be delivered during early 2026. The 3rd ship is presently undergoing the pre-launch phase, and this ship is planned to be launched mid of next year. The delivery of this ship is planned during 2026, the second half. As far as the survey vessel large project is concerned, the first 2 ships have been already launched and the post-launch outfitting is in progress, and both these ships are expected to be delivered during 2023. The 3rd and 4th ships are in the pre-launch phase, and these ships are planned to be delivered in 2024. The anti-submarine shallow water craft ships are at various stages of construction, and the launch of the first 2 ships of this 8-ship project is planned during the current year. The completion of this project is scheduled by 2027. That means delivery of all the ships is expected to be completed by 2027. As I had mentioned, we had launched the passenger cum cargo vessel for Guyana during June this year, and this vessel is expected to be delivered by early 2023. Similarly, the fast patrol vessel, the construction, the post-launch outfitting is in full flow, and we expect to deliver this ship also during the current financial year. Same goes for the Bangladesh boats also. We will be completing this project, that is delivery of these 6 vessels to the government of Bangladesh during this financial year. I had mentioned that we have concluded a contract with the government of West Bengal for the next generation electric ferry. This is a 12-month contract, and we'll be completing this project by July next year. Now coming to the financial performance. The Q1 results have been the best ever in the history of GRSE, with the revenue from operations going up from 304 crores to 580 crores. If you're comparing Q1 of 22 to Q1 of 23, registering a growth of 90+%. Similarly, the total income has grown from 344 crores, registering a growth of 80.4% to 621 crores. Our PBT has grown from 34 crores to 64 crores, registering a growth of 88.2%, and the PAT from 21 crores to 50 crores, growing by 143%. The operational profit has registered 5 times growth, with the current operating profit at 23.39 crores. Having said that, the Q1 has been very encouraging, and I expect good growth during this financial year in terms of revenue and profit. With a very healthy order book and starting the financial year on a right note, our focus now is to ensure that the physical construction of the ships progress smoothly and the orders are executed on time. So towards this, our thrust areas are enhanced operational efficiency through internal process improvement, digitalization, and artificial intelligence in applicable segments of our operations, thrust on exports, ship repair, and the daily bridge segments to enhance the revenue generation from these areas, and adoption of an aggressive bidding strategy to win new orders. Thank you. I have concluded my introductory remarks. I am open for questions now.
Thank you very much. We will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone phone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. The first question is from the line of Bhagesh Kagalkar from HDFC Mutual Funds. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi sir. I have 1 or 2 questions over here. One is on the margin issue. Can you give guidance for this year as well as the next 2 years, a broad guidance? And secondly, looking into future for next 2 to 3 years, which are the big orders that we are going to bid for, essentially, in next 18 to 24 months? Yeah, that's all.
Thank you, Mr. Kagalkar. Coming to the margins, the Q1 margins are in the range of 10.35 PBT and 8.08 PAT. I had elaborated in the previous discussions also. In shipbuilding, when we say profit margins, anything which is satisfactory is around 7.5%. As I had just mentioned, our PBT margins are 10.35 and the PAT is 8.08, and we are above this threshold. We are confident of maintaining similar margins in the coming times also, considering our order book and the execution plan. Now, coming to the orders on the anvil, this year, 2 proposals of the Ministry of Defence have been cleared by the Defence Acquisition Council. They are given AON for 2 proposals. One sometime in June, I think. I'm not sure about the date. It's a large quantum. Around 76,000 crores have been approved by the DAC, of which 36,000 pertain to a naval project for 18-number next generation corvettes. The second is a recent approval in July, again by the DAC, for around 27,000 crores, of which there is a proposal for 14 fast patrol vessels for the Indian Coast Guard. Of course, the order value expected from the fast patrol vessels is to the tune of around 3,000 crores. The other order value is huge. It is 36,000 crores. As per the indications, this is likely to be split among two shipyards. Now, here we have an advantage. GRSE has built and delivered 9 corvettes, both the missile corvettes and the anti-submarine warfare corvettes to the Indian Navy, and all these ships are in active service. So we have resident expertise and the capability to build these vessels. However, as I mentioned, this will be coming on a limited tender basis among all these shipyards. But the probability of getting this increases because it is being split between two shipyards, first. And second, our bidding strategy, considering our experience and expertise, confident it will be appropriate to get a chunk of this order. Coming to we expect the RFP to come out sometime next year. The humble time required between the RFP issuance and the AON ranges between 12 to 18 months, depending upon class of ship. This is the first expected order that is on the anvil. And the second, as I had mentioned, is about the fast petrol vessels for the Indian Coast Guard. The order value is expected to be to the tune of from 2,800 to 3,000 crores. Here, the stakeholders are the contenders are the 5 shipyards. That's the 4 DPSU shipyards plus the Cochin shipyard. We stand a good chance of getting this. There is also an RFP that is expected from the Indian Navy. There was an RFA issued sometime last year for landing platform dock, LPDs. The order values to the tune of, there are 2 of them which are likely to come up. The order value is expected to the tune of around 25 to 30,000 crores. So this also will be bidding. These in a nutshell are the orders that are on the anvil. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you very much, sir. All the best. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next question is from the line of Rohit M. from Antique Stock Broking Limited. Please go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for this opportunity. Sir, if you could help us the physical progress of the first, second, and the third P-17 Alpha, that is, especially with the Goliath crane coming up, what exactly the current physical progress looks like?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Rohit. Coming to the physical progress of the first 3 P-17 Alpha ships. The first ship is presently plus 40% physical progress. That is the first P-17 Alpha which was launched sometime during December 2020. And the second ship is presently at 31%. It's catching up very fast. So we launched the ship almost a year and a half after the first ship, after having learned the lessons and improving our own processes. The second ship is catching up very fast. And the third ship is approximately 14% physical progress. Now coming to the Goliath crane, since you mentioned in passing about the Goliath crane. Now the Goliath crane commissioning has been a major capability enhancer, as this crane is a 250-ton crane covering the entire span of one dry dock and a building berth and the area where we fabricate and assemble the blocks. So commissioning of this crane has been, as I mentioned, a huge capability enhancer, and this facilitates us in shifting the blocks onto the building berth or the building dock where we can assemble. Thank you. I hope this answers your query, the physical progress I mentioned, and the impact of the Goliath crane.
Absolutely, sir. It's perfectly all right. But, sir, looking at the physical progress, if I have to see, we have a mandate, if I understand it correctly, to complete all the work before FY23 as such. So does this mean, is it fair to assume that we will be moving to that 5,000 crore of revenue trajectory very soon?
Yes, we have a mandate. We have a plan to complete our projects by 2027. So you're absolutely right. And as you may have observed, our order book stands at 23,386 crores. So, 23,586 crores. Yes, so revenue accrual will definitely be during the next 5 years. And we expect the revenue revenue generation to grow in a upward trajectory, especially during FY FY23, FY24, and FY25. These are the peak years where we expect our revenue to be touching.
Sir, any guidance that you would want to touch on, like how those numbers would look like in these near-term fiscal and maybe some longer-term picture look like?
See, you have seen the first quarter results. You have seen the first quarter results. You have seen the last quarter of FY22. You have seen the Q3 of 22. So it's an upward thing. So you can infer. Just to sum up, I will not be giving you exact figures. So at this position, I cannot give you the exact figures. But just to tell you that FY23, 24, and 25, you will see a definite upward movement. And also the reasonable assurance is that we got to complete these projects by FY27. So, and maximum revenue generation occurs when the projects move from a stage of physical progress of almost 40 to 65%. That is the stage when the equipment goes in. And when high-value equipment goes in, automatically the revenue generation increases. To answer your question again in a perhaps an indirect way, FY23, 24, 25, you can expect a substantial growth. Thank you.
True. So final question from my side, if I may. You highlighted a lot of opportunities coming up, especially this close to 760 billion of works in terms of the new generation corvettes and even the fast patrol vessels. If I have to look at the capacity that you have at this point in time, the order backlog that you have at this point in time, what is the peak order backlog that you can have at any given point in time, and what is the best case execution you can deliver?
Okay. Now, you had mentioned two projects, that is the next generation corvettes. The total value of this order is around 36,000 crores. So if you are splitting it between, since the government decision is to split it between two shipyards, the best case scenario is 5 ships. One. And these are large ships. Akin to, I would not say as big as the P7 Alpha ships, but akin to the ships that we have delivered, anti-submarine corvettes which we have delivered, the P28 projects a couple of years back. Now, the FPVs are small ships, as evident from the order value. Though the numbers are large, here we can go for series production. Now coming to the capacity. GRSE today has got a capacity, a proven capacity to build 20 warships concurrently. This includes 8 warships large and 12 small or medium-sized warships. Now, when you say concurrent construction and with the projects being staggered, at every point of time in a ship's project, one ship will be at a post-launch phase, the second and third ships perhaps at the pre-launch phase. So all put together, 20 ships we can undertake concurrently. Now, on real terms, the corvette, if at all the order comes to us, with the best case scenario of 5 ships coming to us, the most likely year when the order physically will be, the contract will be concluded, will be 2024, the first quarter of 2024. From then, after the design is frozen, the production will start only by 25. And by 2025, all the backlog ships which we are under construction would have definitely crossed the pre-launch phase. Some of them would have been delivered. Some of them would be at the post-launch phase awaiting delivery. So the entire pre-launch resources, assets will be khali, will be empty. So there is no dearth of capacity. Second, now coming to the FPV project. FPVs are akin to the waterjet FACs, and this is a niche product of Shipbuilders, having delivered nearly 30 plus platforms to both Navy and Coast Guard. So we have a serious production line to address the requirement of fast patrol vessels. And you may be aware that we have taken over a facility, the Rajabagan Dockyard, from the Central Inland Water Transport Corporation early, just 2006. And we have developed this into a full-fledged independent facility for construction of small warships. And this is where we'll be focusing on construction of fast patrol vessels. So as far as capacity is concerned, there are no issues. And as far as the backlog from the current order book, no issues at all, because by the time the new orders, if we get it or when we get it, the backlog would have been already cleared. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. That's it on my side. Wishing you luck.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Yash Shah from Redan Securities LLP. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. I had just few questions that what will be the cash on books, and of this, what will be the part of advances that we have received from our client? Hello?
Yeah, 1 second. Let me just check the figures. Our present cash on books is 3,270 crores. And of that, by the way, I would like to clarify, there is no advance. We don't get any advance. Whatever money we get are as per the project milestones. See, in the defense acquisition procedure 2020, there are X number of project milestones. So as per, let us say, the series 1 of that milestone, we get certain amount, which are required for the design and the preparatory activity. So let me clarify, there is nothing called advance in domestic shipbuilding. Okay, no. Of the 3,270 crores, the project milestone cash is 3,140 crores, and the own cash is 130 crores. Thank you.
Okay. And sir, second question on the ship repair side. What is our target going ahead? That are we trying to expand on the western side of our western coast, or what is it?
Ship repair is an area which we have started focusing from the last year. And as a first step, what we had done was we have taken over 3 dry docks of the Kolkata Port, Shama Prasad Mukherjee Port Trust on a long-term lease, 3 dry docks. And in ship repair, or for that matter, even in shipbuilding, one of the major assets that determines your capability is the availability of dry docks. So we have taken over 3 dry docks, and there are captive dry docks as of now. Now the results have started showing, and we have started bidding aggressively for both commercial and Coast Guard ship repair orders. And as I had mentioned during my introductory remarks, that we have, in the last year, in 2022, when we started, we completed the refit of 4 ships. And during the current year, we are already in the process of completion. By September, mid, we'll be completing the refit of a Coast Guard ship. And 2 more ship orders are in hand. So ship repair is a fledgling facility, vertical, which we intend focusing upon. To answer your question, at this juncture, we would like to focus on our own captive facility for ship repairs, plus the augmented capability that we have presently got with the Kolkata Port Trust 3 dry docks. So our focus on ship repairs will be in and around Kolkata.
Okay, thank you.
To answer your question, this actually covers the eastern seaboard requirements.
Okay. Okay, understood, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. The next question is from the line of Parimal Mithani from Credential Investments. Please go ahead.
Yeah, can you hear me? Hello?
Sure.
Please
go ahead.
proceed.
I can hear you.
Yeah, sir, thanks for the opportunity. So I have clarification. You mentioned cash on hand is 130 crores, which is owned by company, right?
Correct.
And so going through a previous Concall, so you mentioned last year in Project P17 Alpha, the execution was close to 3,500 crores. And in Survey SLVAJ was close to 400 crores. So if I take the last year as a base, is it fair to say that this year we're going to have a very high historic revenue in terms of FY23-24? Hello?
Could you repeat the question, please?
So, taking last year your construction for Project P17 Alpha at 3,500 crores, as well as the survey vessel large, which is around 370 crore that you did last year execution. Is it fair to say the value of production this year will be close to high levels in the company's history over the last 5 years in terms of 4,000 crore odd?
See, the last year, that is FY22, our total value of production was to the tune of 1,750 crores. 1,750 crores. That was the value of production from during the last year. See, of this, definitely P7 Alpha has contributed a large chunk. And this year, the proportionate increase will definitely be there, because in answering to an earlier question, I had mentioned that the maximum revenue generation from a project, a ship, let us take a ship, comes when the ship is between 40 to 65% physical progress. And again, answering to a previous question, I had mentioned that the first P7 Alpha has already touched 40% progress.
Right.
Now, since you mentioned this question, of the 1,750 odd crores which our total value of production last year, the VOP from the P17 Alpha itself was 916 crores. And the cumulative VOP, what you are talking about, 3,500, was the cumulative VOP derived from P7 Alpha till date. That, absolutely, you are right. That is 3,512 crores as on 31st March.
Okay. And so this year, is it fair to say that execution will be on a much higher side in terms of your P17 Alpha and survey vessel large?
Absolutely.
Just to make a revenue model. Just to make a revenue model for us, basically, to understand.
Revenue figures, you may like to extrapolate from our Q1 results. That's what I can say. But both, I have also mentioned that the two survey vessels we intend delivering during the early next financial year, that is FY23-24. So when the ship is scheduled to be delivered during the next financial year, the revenue accrual recognition from two of these survey vessels is going to be maximum during the current financial year, when the ship is moving from, let us say, 40 to 70% of progress. To answer your question, yes, the revenue generation from P7 Alpha, especially the first two ships, and more so on the first ship, and both the survey vessels will be much, much larger than what was there in the last year. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Thanks. And sir, last question, if I can ask. Hello. So you mentioned about the forthcoming orders, which is of Corvette as well as the landing platform. Who are the contenders in the Corvette business and the landing platform, if you can disclose that?
Okay. There are four of us, the defense shipyards plus Cochin shipyard. There's another public sector undertaking under the Ministry of Defense. These are the five PSU shipyards. Plus, of course, there is L&T and two small shipyards, Chogle and Short. Now, of these, the Corvette, the contenders are going to be definitely us, that is Government Shipbuilders and Mazagon Docks and Goa Shipyard. Now, again, I had mentioned that having delivered 9 Corvettes, and the only Indian shipyard to deliver 9 Corvettes, this is a government policy that nowadays the ships are being awarded on a competitive basis. It's a pure government policy. But the probability factor for winning this order is very high, considering that they are splitting this package of 8 ships into 2, that is 5 and 3. So the chances are very high. Second, coming to the LPD, the contenders are Mazagon Docks, Cochin Shipyard, and L&T.
Okay. So thanks for your. I'll back to get in the queue.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The next question is from the line of Harshit Kapadia from Elara Capital. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for the opportunity, and I have a few questions. Can you update us on the order where we were an L2, next generation offshore petrol vessel? We were L2 with Goa Shipyard. It's a 9,000 crore project. What's the status now? There is a chance that it could be split between you and Goa, and by when it is expected to be received?
Okay, thank you, Mr. Harshit. Yes, we have been declared L2 in an RFP floated by the Indian Navy for 11. The total number is 11 next generation ocean-going patrol vessels. And as you rightly said, the order value is to the tune of 9,000 to 9,500 crores. And as per the tender conditions, the order is going to be split between two shipyards. The L1 will get 7 and the L2 will get 4. So in effect, we will be getting 4 ships. Right now, the negotiations are in progress between the customer, that is the Indian Navy, and the L1 shipyard. Once the negotiations complete between the L1 and the customer, thereafter the contract between L2, that is GRSE, my shipyard, and the Navy will take place. We are hopeful that this contract will get concluded during the current financial year.
Okay. And in one of the call, one of your competitors also mentioned there is a discussion for P17B, just like P17A is there. So is there and how large is that size, and by when do you expect that order to be, as an event to be accepted and RFP to be floated? Any color on that, sir?
See, as per the maritime perspective plan of the Indian Navy, there is a definite requirement for the Navy to augment its frontline fleet. We are very hopeful that the P17 Bravo project, right now it's still in liquid form. It is still in paper. The project may fructify in the next 3 to 4 years. This perhaps is the right time, because in the next 3 to 4 years, the ongoing project, that is the P17 Alpha project, will get completed. I appreciate that the Navy will be matching time in such a way that once this project gets completed in all aspects between us and the Mazagon docks, the P17 Bravo will be put to motion. So in real terms, it could take about 3 to 4 years for the project to take its length. Right now, it's still in liquid form. Thank you.
Fair enough, sir. And last question from my side. In the first participant asked a question on the margin. If you can also dwell something on the EBITDA margin front as well. And secondly, with your revenue rising every year during FY23 to 25, do you expect how much margin bump up may come, let's say when we go to FY24 and FY25? Any color on that would be really helpful.
Okay. Margins, the 3 important margins. EBITDA margin for Q1 is 11.98. The PBT at 10.35 and PAT at 8.08. Now, coming to, you had asked what is in store in the coming years. See, our revenue is going to grow in the coming years purely because the order book is healthy and the project execution phase is such that the revenue generation will be on a growth trajectory in the coming years. So naturally, the PBT, PAT, and EBITDA will move. As far as margins are concerned, as I mentioned in response to an earlier query, that in shipbuilding for projects which are won on competitive bidding, the best margins that we get is hovering around 7.5 PBT margins. And so far we have been above this threshold. And this has been achieved mostly through our own internal efficiency, process improvement, internal efficiency, and we are confident of maintaining similar margins in future also.
But would there any bump up because of your revenue rising? So would there be the operating leverage which will come up because your revenues are rising? We understand 7.5 is the threshold which is given, but how much above that can GRSE do with rising income?
Yeah. I wouldn't be in a position to quantify the amount, the percentage, but all I can say is that we'll be above this threshold.
Okay, no problem. Thank you, sir. Thanks for answering the question. Wishing you all the best.
Thank you. Reminder to all the participants, anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone phone. The next question is from the line of Venkatesh Subramanian from Logic Tree. Please go ahead.
Good afternoon, sir. I have two questions. First question is on the ship repair business that you talked about, where we have an outstanding order of 43 crore and engineering division has got 102 crores. And then you mentioned something else as well, which has got about 138 crores. I didn't get that right. So these three divisions, how do we see the revenues panning out, sir? Ship repair, engineering division, and the third one, would they be monetized this year, FY23, or would it be FY24?
Okay. The three verticals, as you may be aware, that perhaps among the shipyards, we are the only one who have diversified to this extent. Of course, some of the other shipyards have one or two products other than warships or commercial ships. We have three business verticals at the ship repair, where you rightly mentioned 43 crores, the current order book. And definitely this order book of 43 will be accrued during the current financial year. And the second is the engineering division segment. This comprises of two sub-verticals. One is the Bailey bridges. This is a very interesting segment, the portable steel bridges. And today in India, we own almost 65% of the domestic market. Now, of course, the other side is that the domestic market itself is limited, with the major customers being the Indian Army, the Border Roads Organization, and of course some of the state governments. And there is little export potential for the friendly foreign countries. There is Nepal, Myanmar, and Bhutan and Bangladesh. Now they also come to our line. Now this orders of 102 crores between these two segments. Of this, we expect around 70% to be completed during the current financial year, and the next financial year the balance. But you must also appreciate this is a dynamic scenario. Today I'm having an order book of 102 crores, and maybe next month I'll get a fresh order for around 20 crores on the Bailey bridges. We already have orders on the anvil for around 25 crores. So this is a dynamic figure. So to answer your question, of this 102 which we have live as of now, around 70% will be executing and recognizing during this financial year, with the balance coming in the next year, plus the orders which we will get on in this segment in the coming days or months. The third division is an interesting. So we have a diesel engine plant at Ranchi. It's called DEP Ranchi, where we have a license agreement with NTU Germany, and we assemble engines. We have a dedicated test bed there, and thereafter deliver these to the customers. Plus we have the same facility. We have a dedicated setup for integration and trials of diesel alternators. Now this 138 crores which is remaining in our order book kitty for this segment is through an order for the Indian Navy. Actually, it's one of our projects. For the P-17 Alpha project, we are manufacturing, rather assembling and delivering diesel alternators. These 138, however, will spill over to 23-24. That is purely as per the delivery schedule. And this will be realized between FY23 and FY24.
And what would be the margins in ship repair, sir, and in engineering division, and as well as in the diesel engine conversion business?
Here, as evident, as compared to shipbuilding, the volumes are very low. 98% of our orders are coming from shipbuilding. Now, coming to this segment, considering it is small, the margins in case of Bailey bridges is around 7 to 7.5%. Because see here, we have to compete with a large amount of small firms, and so the margins are thin. It's around 7 to 7.5%. And in case of ship repair, the margins are high. It is to the tune of around 20% margin. But as you may have noted, the volume is low. Definite focus is there on improving the business in this segment. And the diesel engines, presently we are just striking even, because it's a project for our own shipyard.
Right. I got it. So just a question on the cash balance, which you mentioned. We have 3,000 odd crores of cash balance. Just to get some clarity when we do our projected financials, which is for FY, if we have a cash balance of 3,000 crores, as per your internal working capital management, at the end of this financial year, as on 31st March FY23, what is it likely to be? Just give me a broad number, sir. I don't need an exact number.
It will be around 3,000 crores. It will be more or less, the cash balance is going to be around 3,000 crores.
Okay, so for the entire year, broadly, we will be maintaining a 3,000 crore cash balance for the next 9 months. Yeah.
For the next current financial, we'll be maintaining more or less the same, similar kind of cash balance.
Okay, sir. And one last question, sir. I know people have asked, but just a little clarity. Value of production, when we did the cycle of peak years, FY23, 24, 25, and if I take P17 alpha, which is around 15,800 odd crores of production value remaining, if we want to complete the bulk of it in FY23, 24, and 25, is it safe to assume it's not linear, but the top line could range anywhere between 4,000 to 6,000, 7,000 crores over the next 3 years, some peak, some low, some troughs? Yeah.
A very logical question that P7 alpha, the revenue, that the order book value remaining is to the tune of around 15,000. And with the delivery of the ships planned between 25 and 26, that is FY26 first half and FY27 second half. That is the broad band between which we plan to deliver these ships. So yes, again, some answer to a previous query I had mentioned that maximum revenue recognition happens when the ship is moving from now, that is from around 40% to where it touches 65 to 70% where the equipment goes. So that phase, especially for the first ship, is already started, and it will move on. That phase for the first ship will move on till 24. The second ship, it will move on till maybe 24 second half, and the third ship till 25, which means 23, FY23, 24 and 25, you will see an upward trajectory, which will consume most of the order book value from this project. Concurrently with the survey vessel large project maturing as in we plan to deliver 2 of these ships in the coming, that is the next financial year, first half of next financial year. So revenue recognition from these first two ships is also going to be high. So to sum up, though I am not giving exact figures, 23, 24, 25, you can extrapolate the growth from what you have, the financial results of this quarter with respect to revenue recognition.
Fine, sir. That's very, very helpful, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. As there are no further questions from the participants, I now hand the conference over to Shri Commodore P.R. Hari Sirji for closing comments.
Yeah, thank you, Michelle. First you made me additional in charge, now you have made me Hari. No problem, taken.
I'm so sorry, sir.
No issues. Thank you and no issues. Thank you and thank you, Mr. Gaurav from Concept IA for organizing this conference call. I would like to pay my sincere gratitude to all my analysts and investor friends who have taken time out of their busy schedule to listen to us today. If you have any further queries, I would request you all to please get in touch with us and we'll be very happy to address all your queries. Thank you once again. Stay safe, stay healthy. Jai Hind.
Thank you. On behalf of Garden Reach Shipbuilders and Engineers Limited, that concludes this conference. If you have any further queries, please send an email to gaurav.g@conceptpr.com. Thank you for joining us, and you may now disconnect your line.